think it's just consistency. I think it's just really just jumping out the plane and just saying, okay, this is kind of the niche I want to pick. This is the content I want to try, and just look at people that are doing it and just kind of start it.
I have a special guest with me today that we met on through social media on Fanbase. Green 610, dope ass influencer, dope ass person. I mean, I haven't met you in person, but from my interactions with you on social media, over the phone and stuff like that, like you really are someone that inspires me, because when I came on Fanbase, you were the first one to really take me under your wing and really show me the ropes and how to use the app and create stuff that we created so far. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
All right, yeah, I'm Green 610. I'm a recording artist and a social media influencer. I pretty much consider myself almost like a content host, kind of. I think that's like kind of my lane, when it comes to the type of content I create. I think I create like spaces where people can come and hear topics and be kind of like entertained with, the conversations that we're having. And I think we're starting to become like a new breed of influencers, if that makes
Mm.
sense. We're starting to see these live hosts, these YouTube live hosts and the Twitch live hosts become, like a new influencer type of thing. And I think it's because we're giving people like the access to us, they're able to ask questions and they're able to get interactions with us. So like that's kind of where I'm at. And then my main thing is just building community, and like that's kind of like where we met and where we was able to kind of kick things off like that, because I'm a real big believer in community, especially when it comes to social media. I think, with community, we're going to be able to grow a lot more quicker. And it's almost like a loophole for us content creators.
I'm glad you said big on community because you really do focus on that. And as being an influencer for a while, you and I, why do you think community is so big? And what tactics do you use to actually build your community and keep it going and have that positive influence on everybody?
So I just really try to study like what businesses do, right? Like how are businesses winning? How are businesses becoming successful, right? And when I notice the best businesses or the largest businesses, they're corporations, right? They're like empires, right? And so when I see that, I understand that that is some type of a community, right? There's a community of people that back that business up, where they're, employees or whatever the case may be. Then they also might have consumers, right? And that also backs up the business. So when I look at community, I understand that the quicker that you can create a group of people that are constantly kind of together in the same place and they feel safe, that there's a marketplace within that community that's safe products, especially with social media. I feel like it's a loophole to a quicker route of success, right? And the dope thing with community is that if I build community, anybody that I bring into that community, they get the same like the same access immediately, right? So if the community is 500 people, somebody that has no community, when they enter that community, they automatically have 500 people that are going to want to support them, or check them out and stuff like that. So it just creates a better audience for us. And I think that's why it's important to create community, because it's going to help us all out in the long run when it comes to just views, likes, selling products to people. It's just a safe place for us, in this
So
weird social media world.
let's be real. So, like, what do you do with the bad apples that come into play? Like, there's always going to be somebody who thinks that they're running the game better than somebody, or they come to the table with more and they're not getting enough, and all different kinds of issues. How do you deal with those people?
I think the main thing when we go into like social media world and we're focusing on like creating, I think the first thing is we always got to focus on ourselves, right? Never forget your goal, never forget your dream. Constantly work on what you're going, and just understand that the bad apples are going to come in and out. They're going to come into a circle, they're going to leave the circle. I don't think that us as creators, we focus too much on the bad apples, you know? I think we kind of just let it play out, you know what I'm saying? Because you never know what's gonna happen. I think sometimes bad apples could turn into good apples as well, you know? And I feel like if us as creators have a defense mechanism up where we don't let people
Mhm.
in, we're never gonna find the good apples, right? So I feel like this is just something, and this I didn't know this in the beginning of this. This is all stuff I speak through experience because we go through these situations and we don't know how to handle the situations. We got to sit and think about these situations, you know, and I feel like nobody would understand this stuff unless they really dig deep into the social media world of, hosting and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you just kind of like got to let them come in and see what happens. You never know how the end game is going to be. I think, but us as creators, we just got to know how to protect ourselves and just understand that, you know, um, people can't copy us. Most content is copied content, right? So don't try to hide from people thinking they're going to steal your stuff or whatever, you
Mhm.
know? Um,
Yeah, I was
I
just going
think
to
you
ask
just,
you that because
yeah.
people come in different levels. Like you have this community, you have people that are just beginning, you have people that are advanced, you have people that, you know, are all the way up there. So how how is the balance of sharing information? How do people feel like they should withhold stuff? Do they feel like it's there for everybody? Should they teach, or you personally, or what you've seen in your community?
hmm I believe it personally, like in my community, I think it's really an open kind of. There's not too many rules, right? And I've been into communities where there's a lot of rules and stuff like that, so I've seen a lot of different type of styles. Um, I think I think us as people, we a closed mouth won't be fed, right? And I think
Mhm.
in some of these communities, you just got to feel comfortable to ask questions, right? And the communities will answer. I love when people promote. I don't mind when people promote in my communities, right? I want people to promote and stuff like that. People might come and not know if they're allowed to promote. But I'm
Right.
not the type that puts stuff in my community like, hey guys, this is here for promotion. But if somebody would ask me, I would say, that's what it's there for, right? And maybe that's a misconnect on my part where I think that I don't need to tell people these things, but I also just like to see how hard people really want to go, right? Because that's really what this is about. If I hand feed you and hand feed you and hand feed you, the moment I
Mhm.
walk away, it's just gonna fall off. It's gonna fall off for you, you know. So people kind of got to get it from the mud on social media. They got to get used to the being nervous. They got to get used to the hosting rooms alone. They got to get used to all these growing pains. So the faster that I let them just learn the hard way, I feel like the more successful they'll be quicker. You know, I feel like people that I've hand fed a lot, um, I feel like they get what's the word? They get kind of like complacent, you know? And I
Right.
feel like when I look at it, I start to think, dang, is it my fault that they got complacent? Because I kind of like helped them too much and I should have kind of let them see how it felt to get to certain ways and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think a community is just like the streets, you know? You got people that's gonna go to the block and talk more than others, and some people are just gonna watch, and not ever take anything to
Hustle more.
place. You
Hustle
know,
more.
you
I got
know.
the block because I hustle. That's it.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly. So the opportunities
um,
are there, you know?
right, and right, and the connection. I love being a part of your community because it also helps me build my community and understand how people work and the different personalities. I think for me, being an influencer for so long, I never connected with people like that. It was always like a solo thing. So when you introduced me to that, I'm like, okay, this is something new for me. And
Hmm.
I like it because I get to learn other people. Not everybody's like you. Not everybody is like your surroundings. So to meet so many people on social media, it really can broaden your brand, your work ethic, your whatever
Definitely.
you're doing. Yeah, your own community. So I definitely think that is a positive thing you're doing. Keep doing it. I love it. I'm so glad that I met you.
Appreciate
I
that.
also
Appreciate that.
yeah. So you've been in the game for so long. What is let's refer to the title, your influencer stamina. Like, what keeps you going? What keeps you grinding? What keeps you, you know, your head in the game? Because of course we're gonna be discouraged sometimes. We're gonna feel like we're
Hmm.
not getting anything in return. Like, what keeps you going? What keeps that stamina going?
So I think really the stamina just comes from like the way I grew up. I think that one thing I realized that if we want to be influential to our people, we have to we have to put the work in, right? And then we have to look at who's influential in the whole entire world, right? So if we want to take it to the next step, right, where we want to be influential to the world, how will our word be heard, right? And I look at this outlet as my outlet. I feel like this is going to be my way that I'm going to be able to be influential to the world and to be able to show, like, kids growing up, that there's other ways that we can invest in our money. There's
Yes.
other ways that we can grow, our businesses. We can say this is something that we love to do, and we can practice it, and we can turn that into a business. And I think this is something that nobody really teaches us at a young age. We were taught we have to go to work and do this and that, and I believe, yes, you do have to go to work and have your 9 to 5, but the money that you're making from your 9 to 5, learn how to invest some of that money into
Mm,
yourself. And
right.
that's something that I want to start, really, continue to grow my influence to show people that we can invest in ourselves. I think we're always taught invest in stocks, invest in this, invest in assets, invest in all these things, but
Yeah.
not one time does anybody tell us, hold on, but don't forget, invest in your dream too, because it's not a dream, it just takes money to get there. And that's
Right.
not what we was taught. We didn't know that it was a pay to play game. So my influence, I'm hoping to teach people that this is a pay to play game, and we can do whatever we want. We just have to understand the blueprint to get there, right? And it's going to be investing in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that your dream is not a dream. You just have to little by little invest in it and just take your time. You know what I'm saying? 7 years, 10 years, if you invest in yourself in any dream you like, that's going to become real.
What do you think is the biggest investment into yourself that you've done?
I think the biggest investment that I can is in my community. I think that's my biggest investment is how much I invest into my people, showing them that they can make money as well. So I have hosts right now that are like top hosts on platforms where they probably never believed that they could even do that. You know what I'm saying? When I first met them, they were just hanging out in rooms thinking that this was like a hangout thing. And I told them, hey man, as much as you on social media, you can actually make some good money. So I
Right.
feel like a lot of my time a lot of my investment um, that I put in is to my community, because I believe if in order to be a guru in these things, in order to be a life coach, or you got to have some type of people that are saying, yes, this guy, I listened to his course and it helped me and stuff like that. So I say my biggest investment is to the people, into my people, and I put money into the people. I put my own money into the people. So that's why I consider it an investment, because I have to taken hundreds of dollars out of my pocket to put into other people's pockets to
Yeah.
show them, like, hey, let's do this, guys. We can do this, man. It's not a dream. Like, it's very, very possible. Look. So I
Right.
think that's my biggest investment.
Nice. Nice. I love that. Relatability. How do you know the balance of what to share to people, how much they should be in your life? Like, what stories of your past really affect your audience in your community?
That's a good question. That's a good question, because me personally, I really didn't tell people about what I did off of social media until maybe like the last couple months, maybe 6 months, maybe now. And it wasn't because what I did off of social media was like nothing or anything. It's just I felt like if people knew the type of business that I was in off of social media, they wouldn't relate to me as well, right? I felt like they were going to look at me as the business person already, instead of looking at the real person who I've been my whole life, right? And
Mhm.
I feel like the person that I and my whole life is the actual special person, right? It's the way that I was raised that gave me the availability to go into these businesses and execute in these businesses. So I didn't want people to know me as this big business person, right? I wanted them to know me as this friendly social media topic conversational person, right? So um I feel like the way you bring your life into social media is also like strategic, you know. I don't bring too much of my real life into social media because I feel like I'm trying to keep it separated, right? I want this social media world to be like almost a businessy type of thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
I want my real life to be like my getaway life, right? I don't want to
Right.
really mix too much. So if you really follow me, you guys won't see too much stuff of my family or my kids and stuff like that. I might do a story and my kid might real quick photo bomb my story, and that's probably how he's going to get in, but you're not going to see too much of that lifestyle because I want to keep social media like a businessy world, you know? Even though it's still
Right.
communicative, it's still a business to me. So I just started really showing people what I did off of social media because it got to the point where people were not challenging, but they wanted to know, you know, how was I getting all this knowledge? You know what I'm saying? Why was I able to speak the way I was speaking? It just, you know,
Mm,
after a while they wanted to know. It just, you know, they knew there was something behind the scenes that I had experience in. And then that's when I started telling people, all right, guys, let me let y'all know I manage big corporate companies and stuff like that. You know, I teach
right.
supervisors how to become managers, and you know, I've had companies invest, you know, millions in dollars in our team to grow us to be like elite, you know, managers type vibes. And and the main thing that they taught us was people, 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 people. Literally, all the money that they invested in us was dealing with people, teaching us how to turn D players into A players, understanding that you can't address people the same way. Some people might want to be yelled at, some people might want to be
Mm,
questioned, some people might want to be taught, you know.
right.
Everybody is different and you have to figure out how do you get to that person, you know. You can't use the same tactic with every person, and that's what they taught me. So I think it's important how you switch up your life in social media. I think you got to like, you know, dibble and dabble and use it in different ways to execute into your sales, into your pitches and stuff. Use it to your advantage, you know, and don't tell everything because you got to save some stuff for your story in the end. Don't forget the big biography. That don't, you
I
know what I'm
was just
saying?
about to ask you about that
Don't,
because
yeah, you got to save
you,
some stuff.
yeah, because I'm gonna say you have told us a little bit of your past and how it relates to how you got where, like, what motivates you because you went through this in your past, but you haven't given us like the whole parable. So now I see that that is for the
Yeah.
end, how you got where you were, where you came from, and all of that.
Hmm.
That's good
Yeah,
right there. I love
definitely.
that.
Because
I love that.
there's a lot to the story. There's like a lot to the story, you know. And I give bits and pieces all the time to people. Like, you know, sometimes like I didn't even tell people that you know, I did, you know, time in jail and stuff like that for a while, you know, because, and I only brought it up because there was a group of people in there that just wanted to start questioning certain things, and I knew that they've never experienced those things, you know. So by me knowing that they didn't experience those things, I said, well, let me just take advantage and just let them know one thing. Yes, I have experienced something that like that in my life. You know what I'm saying? So those are just a lot of things that I keep, you know, trying to keep on tuck because, you know, I believe that there is going to be a big story at the end of this. And you know, the big stories when you had all the details, you know, and that's when you got the people that say, dang, I knew this dude for 10 years or 20 years, and these are things that I've never knew. Like, that's crazy. Like, this whole time he was dealing with certain things like that, or he went through certain things like that. Like, dang, that's a real success story. Like, we gotta,
Right.
you know, because even growing up, like I had family members who always told me that I was gonna amount to nothing. And you know what I'm saying? Like, they always used to tell me that. And I used to always like, you know, I was young though, you know, I was young growing up. Like, we didn't know what we wanted to do yet. So, you know, we just had to figure it out. So I feel like it's a good story once it comes out. It's definitely gonna be a good one.
Yeah. I want to touch on that. I know we're about to close out in a little bit, but I want to touch on that. You said when you're growing up, people thought that you were not going to amount to nothing. And as children, we kind of take that personally. But at what point were you like, that shit don't matter? Like, it just,
Um,
did you have to
so I,
prove it to yourself, or you just condition yourself
so
not
it took
to
a
listen?
while. It took really a while, I'll be honest. Like it took a while. Like I didn't really like I never really listened to anybody, but they were right. They were really right for like in the beginning, you know, because I was definitely
Mm.
really like lost. Like I didn't know what I was doing, you know. I was running around the streets. You know what I'm saying? I was getting to myself into like a lot of trouble. Um, so when you look at what I was doing and what they were saying, they actually was correct, you know. And it took for me to get locked up. And I was locked up before this, but like it was very short times. But when I did the year, that was really when I really realized like, dang, like I can't waste my life in these places. You know what I'm saying? Like I definitely have a lot more to offer. I definitely I didn't learn how to make this much money at a young age for no reason. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a reason why I learned how to make that type of money and see certain type of money and do certain things. So, you know, when I was in there, I had a lot of good time to sit and just think. And when I came out, I told myself that I was gonna move and I was gonna try to do something different. And that's when I really started working and trying to like really just go hard at work and change the whole lifestyle. So it really that's what it really took. I'm not gonna lie, you know, sitting in there bored out of my mind. You know what I'm saying, you know, not really speaking to nobody, you know what I'm saying, just really just in a place that you don't want to be, and you're like, dang, you know what? I think some people they sit there and they say, you know, it's time to change. And I was one of those people, you know what I'm saying? And when I came
Right.
home, I started working and I worked in a slaughter. I worked in a slaughterhouse. You know what I'm saying? So it was like
Wow.
real, yeah, it's definitely some hard work.
I've
But
never heard somebody say that. I worked at a slaughterhouse. That's different.
yeah, definitely. Like I've definitely animals come in alive and they leave in packaged, you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
to go out. So I've dealt with the whole process, and it's a very physical job. You got to have a lot of good stamina and stuff like that. So, you know, I've been through a lot of things. I've built, and that's what I built. I've built stamina. I've built conditioning. I've built patience. I've seen failure enough to understand how to bounce back up quick enough from failure and understand that it's just part of the process, right? At the end of the year, it's not, oh, I failed. It was, oh, okay, what did I learn from this year? What can
Right.
I do better next year, right? We just keep climbing. There is no top. Like I really believe like we just keep climbing. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So we're gonna close this out, but I want to ask you two questions. What is the worst advice you ever received?
Hmm. I think the worst advice that I ever received was that I had to go to college. I didn't go to college, but I remember I was very, very like constantly told and pushed and pushed and pushed to go to college. And one thing I will say, I'm very, very happy that I didn't go to college just
Mm.
because the career that I'm in, I'm making more money than the kids that are coming out of college and getting these positions, and they're actually in debt. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Right.
the only thing that I'll say is that, you know, you can work your way up to learn a lot of things. Now, obviously, there's certain certifications and diplomas that you might need, like to be a doctor and stuff like that. But I understand if you're a doctor, I want you to have all the certifications.
Please do.
You know what I mean? You
Don't
know what
try
I
to be
mean?
a doctor with no certificate.
Yeah,
Uh-uh.
exactly. But that was probably the worst advice that I've got. You know what I'm saying? And this is not me saying don't go to college. You know, just understand if your business needs you to go to college or not. You know,
Right. And
so
what's
that
the
was the
best
worst.
advice you've ever received?
Um, I think the best advice that I've ever received is when your back is on the wall, you perform the best.
Mm.
Um, And the reason why I say that's the best advice that I probably received is because we're gonna experience our backs against the wall way more times than like good stuff that's going on in our lives. You know what I'm saying, anytime that we want to do something different, anytime we want to try something new, our backs are going to be felt like they're against the wall, right? You're going to be pressured. And the faster you learn how to use that feeling and use it to execute things, the faster you're going to be able to do a lot more things like that. It's going to start to become like second nature to you, where, performing in front of people or pitching in front of people or anything is just going to be like boom, 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 because the moment you feel that feeling, your body's just going to know how to react. So I think that's the best advice I got.
Nice, nice. I love that. Well, guys, this podcast was filled with a lot of information. You guys leave your comments, links, whatever you need to do below, all that YouTube stuff. Green, where can they find you?
You guys can find me Green610 on every major platform. There's music out as well. You guys can tap into the music platforms, but I'm Green610 everywhere. So just tap in, shoot me a DM if y'all want to work or y'all want to join the community, and we'll definitely set you guys up real nice.
Yes, definitely tap in. That music is on the money.
Thank you.
I'm not
Appreciate
gonna
it.
lie, I be
Appreciate it.
listening to it like what, yo,
Appreciate
that's
it.
my dude Green right there. All right,
Appreciate
but
it.
guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, be bold, be brave, and be you.